Well, hello everybody and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by the British Institute of Kitchen, Bedroom and Bathroom Installation. My name is Louis Mendez and you are joining us here from the Player of the Year dinner for 2023-2024. This is our final show of the campaign. We're coming to you live from Crossbars, the fans bar, as the end of season awards are getting ready to be handed out. There's been drinks flowing already in the room. The players have been introduced and have taken their seats at the table, so they've been introduced. Let's introduce everyone who's joined us here at the Charlton Live table. First of all, on my left is Mr. Terry Smith. How do you tell?
Good evening. You forgot to mention that you were introduced as well, by the way.
Oh, I've got a little shout out from Scott Minot. We get one.
Important to you.
We get one every year from Scott. He advised us to interview the players early before they get too drunk.
Which
is
past experience, I think that is.
Yeah, we've had a few classic ones over the years. I'll never forget Andy Hughes in the year we got promoted in 2012.
And Johnny Jackson being fairly lively as well.
Yeah, that was when he was manager as well.
Exactly.
Also joining us on my left-hand side, Transfers Tash has joined us. Tash Everett, how you doing, Tash?
Good evening, Louis. Yeah, I'm good. This is my first Pro of the Year in about 10 years, so yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, I mean, why not celebrate what has been the lowest point in our entire history?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I say entire history. Only people of Terry's age can remember when we finished lower than 16th in the third tier. What was that like, Terry? It must have been awful.
No, shut up. Do you know, it's the first time, and I was saying to the guys off air, that normally when everybody says, oh, it's been rubbish, or it's been a terrible season, I've normally been able to say, oh, you haven't seen anything, I've seen worse than this. I can't say that now. It's gone.
1926 was when we finished 21st in the third tier. So if we'd finished 17th yesterday, which up until added time we were going to, but then Blackpool scored, which was massive for us, that would have been our second worst ever finish. So instead it's just our joint second worst ever finish. So it's not been a classic, Joe. And Joe Puddyfoot joins us as well. Good evening, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, very good. I'm absolutely delighted to say the season is over and we can start looking forward to a summer of hope and sort of just excitement before probably being brought back to earth of a bump again, because we are Charlton fans. But fingers crossed, it's a good summer coming up.
Yeah, are you talking about the Euros, or are you talking about the entire squad leaving? What are we talking about?
Well, I have a reputation of not being a fan of managers, and that extends to Gareth Southgate, so I'm not that optimistic about the Euros. But maybe I need to get over my hatred of managers in general.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can get some help for that. And also joining us here on the right-hand side, a man who I'm delighted to say provided a two-course meal for the Charlton Live team. It's the chef. It's Mark Newbury. How do you, Mark?
I'm good, mate. It's quite nice looking out over an empty valley, or as the club have announced, there's 11,000 people sat there. No, I'm all good. Looking forward to tonight. Having a chat with one or two of our esteemed people in the room. So we'll look forward to that later on.
Yeah, excellent stuff. So on tonight's show, then, as we always do with our Player of the Year dinner show, we'll have a bit of a chat. We'll sum up the season as a whole. We'll maybe have a 30-second look back at yesterday, Tel, if we can muster as many words as possible about not particularly, no, but we will do it. Then later on in the show we'll find out who has been crowned Player of the Year. Does anyone guess? It's probably Alfie May, isn't it? We'll find out. Then hopefully we'll speak to Alfie once he receives his award. And we'll see which players are up for a bit of a chat this evening. Obviously there's plenty of people in this room who find themselves in a difficult position in terms of contracts and stuff, so that don't often mean they're willing to go and do interviews at that point. But we'll see who's up for a chat this evening. Maybe we'll get a couple of special guests as well. Hopefully get the manager Nathan Jones if he's up for one as well. Let's have a look back very quickly at yesterday, Terry. It was the final game of the season. It was a 1-0 defeat at Wycombe. Nathan Jones was as angry as I've ever seen him after the game, and I guess you could see why.
Yeah, it had been coming, though, I think. If the post-match interview the week before, he'd started to be a little less cautious about what he said, I think. Because I think he knew, as all the fans have known, and pretty much everybody who's watched us this season had known that we are too frail at the back. Or defending generally, shouldn't just pinpoint the defence. Defensively frail across the team, and so that sort of reared its head again after a brief hiatus of 14 games. yesterday specifically, and I think he was just more open and honest because it's the last game of the season, and he's fully aware of what he's got to do.
Right, that's yesterday summed up nicely. We will never talk of that game again. Tash, so that result yesterday, so it does leave us in 16th. We already knew before yesterday that was going to be our lowest finish since 1926. You know, it's not been a great season. It's remarkable how many people have actually come out in support of this event, considering it has been such a disappointing one. So fair play to the supporters who have come. But yeah, yesterday highlighted, I think, the problems we have as a side as a whole, and Nathan Jones was very clear about saying that in his post-match interview yesterday.
Yeah, I think, echoing what Terry said, really, I think at the end of the season, sometimes with dead rubber games like that, managers kind of just not really say a lot, just look ahead to the next season or whatever's ahead of them. Obviously for Nathan Jones, he knows the weight of what this summer carries, not to be dramatic. I feel like we sit here every year and we're like, oh, it's okay because we'll do another rebuild in the summer and we'll go again. But I do genuinely feel this time, you can remind me of this in a year if I'm saying exactly the same thing, but I do feel like this year we have the stepping stones there that we need. Like, we have Nathan Jones. If he is in charge of the transfers this summer, please God.
But with the low base that we're starting from, it is a very difficult place to start from, if that makes sense. It is our lowest finish in living memory. It does show how much work there is to do as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, as you said, we can't have another year of this. I feel, again, we say this every year, but I went into this summer, probably as we all did, apart from you, Louis, we'll find out you had a little bit more realistic expectations. But we all kind of went into it thinking, you know, it's promotion or bust, and that's kind of what I thought. Obviously, when you have the context of this season, what's happened, yeah, okay, you can say it's the teething issues of a new ownership. I think that's fair. But having said that, okay, we'll give you that run, and for that season it's been awful. Like, you know, you brought in Nathan Jones, but you're lucky that happened, really. The board are lucky that happened. We've been able to shake off what was a relegation battle. But you've had that chance to make those mistakes this season. Next season, you know what you need to do. You need to trust in Nathan Jones. You need to give him the backing. Okay, if we can push as hard as we can and we can't get promoted, but at least we tried our hardest and we're up there, then I would accept that. But we can't have a repeat of this year, it goes without saying. But yeah, he's got a massive job in his hands.
I guess the first step in putting things right, Joe, is we have to bottom out what went wrong this season. So that's your job now. You've got to tell me from start to finish why this season has been such a letdown. You know, bear in mind, Terry's pointing at his watch. I mean, next season is starting within the next 3 months or so keep it snappy. But can you put your finger on it? So let's look back to this time a year ago. This is that room we were talking to Dean Holden. The news had just filtered through on the night of the Player of the Year dinner that Charlie Mevans lot were sort of coming back into trying to buy the club. That obviously went through. That happened shortly before the season started. I remember it was the Wealdstone pre-season friendly where we could finally ask Dean about the deal going through and talk about that. So it was about 2-3 weeks before the season started. Dean Holden was sacked after 5 games. He had a terrible start. We beat Orient on the first day, but then lost our next 4 in the league, got knocked out of the League Cup. Michael Appleton came in, had a decent start. I think it probably is easy to forget considering what happened next, which was just an absolute free fall into proper relegation trouble. And then obviously Nathan's come in. After his first game, we were only outside of the drop zone on goal difference. We stayed up, you know, we ended up in a position, a healthy position compared to the relegation zone, but a mile off the playoffs, 23 points off the playoffs, which is, you know, much larger than the season before. That's it in a nutshell, how bad it's been this year, our lowest since 1926. Why was it this bad?
Well, you have answered most of the question for me, so thanks for that. I'll just build on a few elements of it. So I think for us, it's the new owners are blaming when they came in, and I think that is unhelpful coming in midway through a transfer window. I think that changing managers as we did, and especially backing a manager who clearly going into the December window wasn't going to bring this club success and wasn't going to work, wasn't particularly helpful. We lost our creative player in January, our only real creative outlet, and we've struggled to replace his impact in the side. And we are a club without leaders. And that is the biggest thing that we have to get right this summer. We need people start off with a goalkeeper who's commanding, vocal, sets out his stall right from the start. Centre-backs who are bossing each other about, fuming when goals are conceded. I want to see people literally spitting feathers when we concede goals. And in midfield, you've got to have a mix of skill, work rate, and again, some leadership, some fight. And I think we have some fight and we have some energy, but I don't think we have that creativity there. And then up top, you need a mixture of players to help you, and it can't be that all of the people who are over 6 foot and able to play a physical game are injured almost on a consistent basis. So that's my summary in a nutshell of where this season has gone wrong. But what I will say is the one big thing this season has done right is getting Nathan Jones in. The reason this room is so full for me, and I haven't done a straw poll or gone around and asked, but if I had to guess, would be people are very confident about what he will bring to this club over the summer. And I think it is that element of leadership and those types of players and those types of characters that he is associated with throughout his career, and they'll be exactly the type of people he's looking to bring in.
Excellent stuff. Mark, I've got a pretty simple question for you. If Nathan didn't come in, would we have gone down this season?
If we carried on with Apples, yes, we would have done. And I think the thing we said after Nathan came in, when we had, wins, draws, we said a lot of those draws we got, we would have lost. We would have lost those 6 weeks ago. We would have lost those 2 months ago. Because he's instilled something into the team. We stopped conceding late goals. But Appleton just seemed to not enthuse anyone. He didn't enthuse the crowd. He didn't enthuse the players. He couldn't enthuse himself. And you did wonder. He didn't like the people who do histrionics on the sidelines. But you have to see something. And it's all very well saying, oh, we've had a great week training. Fine, but you've got to do it for 90 minutes on the Saturday or the Tuesday night. You can train excellently all you like. You score all the goals you like in training, but you've got to convert it onto the pitch. And it seemed, we went from having Dean Holden, who was, a decent chap, but didn't really have much tactical nous, to having Appleton come in, and he was lucky really because it coincided with players coming back from fitness who got, we got those wins, and then it's sort of like we tend to be found out a bit after that. And for me, the thing is, over Christmas we sat and talked before the Christmas fixtures, and we said, how many points do we need to get? How many points are we likely to get? And, can you get a draw here, draw there? And I'd said you need to win your first one and just take it from that. We lost to Orient, we lost to Bristol, and it was just like, wow, we were just getting so far behind. And games you're thinking, okay, we're going to turn it around this week. We lost. We drew. We lost. And you couldn't see. You just saw a group of despondent players out there, and we were being dragged along by bootstraps by probably Dobbo and Alfie, and that was it. And like Joe said, you need someone out there. You need more leaders on the pitch, not just for skipper, not just for guy who's banged in, a tremendous amount of goals. You need leaders all over that pitch, and and I don't mind if the players can come and find me. Too many of them hid out there, and they hid from responsibility, and they trudged off at the end and applauded, but no, It's hard to put your finger on what went wrong. 3 managers in a season is never going to be good for anyone. Nathan steadied it, and I agree. I think the reason that there is a big group in this room tonight is because, one, Nathan probably scares the bejesus out of them. If it's worried we come and stare through their window if they didn't turn up for dinner. But, you can get behind what he's saying. He knows there's going to be work to be done. But he wants the project, and he sees the project, and and it's up for the fans now to say, right, put your money where your mouth is to the owners. Let's get the players in. We've got the manager now. The crowd are going to be there because we've got amazing away support. We've got good home support when we're successful. And it's, success breeds more people coming in. And that can only be good for us. But, all those draws, it was just painful in the end.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Sorry, Joe, you got something to say?
Just building on that question. If Jones doesn't come in, we lose Dobbo in January, I think. without Dobbo second half of the season, relegation pretty much is confirmed. I think his contribution was massive in those last few games. That's already a season-defining moment from him.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point. Another point you could say, I guess, Terry, is at the same time that we didn't lose Dobbo, obviously we did lose Corey Blackett-Taylor. How much of his absence, how much of a part did that play in the fact that we did flirt with relegation in the second half of the season?
It didn't help, that's for sure, and it didn't help Alfie May either, because he didn't score. I don't know the stats, but I'd be surprised if he scored nearly as many after Corey left than when he did before. So I think the type of side we were had to change. Whether that actually played into Nathan's hands or not, I'm not sure, because he didn't really encourage width. Possibly because by encouraging width, it left us far too exposed elsewhere, and he had to come in and find a way for us to win football matches, or at least not lose football matches, which is it was his priority, and to get us away from that relegation spot. So I think even if Corey had been here, I wouldn't be amazed if he'd have not appeared quite so often, because Nathan had a clear plan as to how he had to do it, and that's how he did it. And sometimes the fans questioned it. I'm sure there were millions of fans, if not thousands, who were saying that why is he bringing off Alfie May at half time, for example. And he said after the game, he didn't think he was affecting the game. That might not be Alfie's fault, but with Alfie there, he wasn't affecting the game, so he felt he had to change it, and he did. And we were marginally better in the second half, not a huge amount, but he's not afraid to make those decisions if he thinks it's right. So Corey Blackett-Taylor's absence, I think, certainly hindered Alfie May's goal scoring. I think he'd have got far more than 23 had he stayed with us. But I've got a sneaking suspicion he might not have appeared as often as people think.
Yeah, well, there's every chance, I guess. So Tash, obviously, I mean, Nathan's made it very clear how much of a rebuild he hopes to see in the summer. He's banged the drum about it being personnel, particularly the defensive issues. So, again, that's probably a reason why we won't get as many interviews tonight as we'd hoped. But the question then becomes, how confident are we that the rebuild will be a success? So, obviously, over the years, not just talking about the current ownership, but over the years, there's been loads of players I've been not that bothered about seeing them move on in terms of ability, not in terms of character. I'm sure they're all great lads in that, but in terms of what I want to see Charlton do, there's been plenty of players who I'm not that sad to see go, as long as we replace them with better. But the problem is we've let players go who haven't done it, and more often than not replace them with players who haven't done it. Now, if you look at the windows so far under Andy Scott and this sort of new ownership side, I wouldn't say they've been great. I don't forget he was here for that one under Sangard. That was a bit weird, that weird January that didn't go very well. Summer didn't go massively well, although they say they only came in part way through, but still the loanings didn't work for us. There's the January window, is still a little bit up in the air in terms of whether all those players have done spectacularly well. I wouldn't feel confident to rest my hat on any of them so far, saying they've been great additions. So where's the confidence that this year will be the one they get it right, and how do we know, what do they need to change to make sure that it is the one that goes well this year?
Well, I think you're starting with an uphill battle from the get-go, and the fact that you've let your captain go, for starters, I mean, it's no secret what I think about that whole decision. I think there's been many players, probably even over the last decade, that we've paid large fees for, that we've probably given two big contracts to, that haven't deserved it, have ended up not panning out in the way that we'd have hoped. And, sometimes that's football, and I get that, but there's definitely been more than we'd have liked over the years. But we do that, but then we can't offer the contracts to our captain and arguably our best player over what has been a pretty miserable couple of years, 3 years. Has been a standout character. Whether you think he's good enough to be captain, if he's that big of a leader, you can't. I just don't see how you can deny how much of a character George Dobson has been and how much he's actually carried us, probably this season. I think, as Joe said, without George, I think we would have gone down 100%. So yeah, all props to Nathan Jones for getting him to stay. So yeah, you've got that gaping hole to deal with. I mean, the likelihood is he's not going to be here, no matter how much Nathan Jones tries to persuade him. I think that's pretty much done that, and he is going to go to Hungary. And in some ways, as gutted as I am that he's leaving, I don't blame him, because if I'd have been at the club for 3 years, stayed through all of that crap, for want of a better word, and my director of football wasn't going to give me a contract equal to say like Scott Fraser, then I'd be like, okay, cool, like that's fine, and I don't blame him for leaving in that respect. But anyway, so you've got to replace Dobbo. Now obviously we brought in Connor Coventry over the January window. Although he's been here for 4 or 5 months now, I still don't feel like we've seen enough of him to know just how much of a replacement he will be for Dobbo. Obviously it's interesting because there's been a few games where they played alongside each other, and I actually thought that worked quite nicely. They were all in the same midfield with Karoy. I actually quite like that, but obviously, yeah, Dobbo's a massive hole to fill. I think Coventry can play some part in that, but I just think in terms of character and leaders, as Joe said, I think that's something we're going to need to fill there in that area. As he said, I think Nathan Jones didn't really keep his cards too close to his chest yesterday. I think it's quite clear that we'll probably see a massive change in the defence, which I'm not complaining about. I think I'm very happy that Thierry Small has been offered a contract longer than the year that we can activate, so I really hope he accepts that. I think of all the signings in January, I think he definitely was the best by far. He's been consistent, and I think it gives you that speed down the left that we've been missing since Corey went. I think if Thierry hadn't come in, I think we've been massively missing someone that can run up to the byline and put those crosses in. And he's been doing that, and I just hope that he gets better and better, and I'm sure that he will under Jones. It seems like he's going to be a consistent starter for us. I think in the summer, I would say that we could do better with loans, but from what I can tell from Nathan Jones, I don't think he's going to be doing that. Whereas, we've seen success in the past with like Ratsaki, and, he was brilliant for us last season. But at the same time, I do actually buy into the sentiment of, well, why should we sit here and improve other people's players when we've got loads of young talents here anyway? So I think that's something, we can focus on those homegrown talents like Karoy that, we don't need to outsource that. But yeah, I mean, as we were saying, I think we're still, especially if Tyrese Campbell goes in the summer, which it looks like he will, you are massively missing that depth along the wings and out wide, so that's something that we're going to have to invest in. And basically, Nathan Jones has got a massive job on his hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting the point you make, because obviously you talk about the players who came in right at the end of the window, Joe, so like Thierry Small, Kane Ramsey. So they're probably the highlights of the January window. But in my mind, I sort of separate them from the business that happened earlier, because obviously the majority of the business that happened earlier was when Appleton was still here, and I sort of consider that as part of the old regime and the way it was set up with the head coach and all that. Now, since those two players who came in later on obviously had previous links in some way or another to Nathan Jones, both having played at Southampton at some point, I sort of assumed that those two coming in marked a changing of the guard in terms of recruitment. I mean, did you think that's the way it is? Do you think that's something that's needed? Are we reading too much into the fact that they had a link with Nathan?
Well, when Nathan had his little jaunt in the East Stand, hiding from the paparazzi, and
Yourself, you mean?
I was sent on a little mission and got the photo. When I took that picture of the guys up in the box, there was Scott on one side leaning up against the wall, Nathan Jones on the other side leaning up against the wall, and even if you just through taking the picture, you could see the tension. That's how I interpreted it. So I think there is definitely a changing of the guard. Nathan is a manager that we know from what's been said by other people that he likes it done his way, and you have to buy into his philosophy, you have to buy into his culture, his way of doing things. And he can't have that much control of the squad if he doesn't have control over who's coming in and who's going to be part of that. We also know from, if you do some reading of his time at Luton, that a big part of his recruitment drive is a personalised presentation he gives for every player when they're coming in, what he thinks he can bring to their game, what he thinks they'll bring to the table. He can't build that presentation for somebody that has just been landed on him from a recruitment committee. So it's got to be him in control of it, and I think that going to that system is going to be the first time in ages we've had a manager who feels like he's really in control of recruitment, and that's why I'd be willing to go for putting up with it if it doesn't work first thing or first few games next season, because he's going to be building something that is his, and it's not just going to be we're trying to smudge it all together and hope. So I hope that he has that freedom and that control. And I think if he doesn't, then the ownership need to find a way to give him that. Whoever is going to be the casualty of that will have to be the casualty.
Excellent stuff. Right, delighted to say we're now joined by the First Lady of Charlton Live, a nickname that was a lot less offensive when there was only one lady on the team. So sorry about that, Tash. But Sue Callop has joined us, managed to drag herself away from her dinner plate for a few moments. Sue, how's your dinner been?
Yeah, it's all right. We've got two lads on our table. They're extremely shy but very lovely. Yeah. So yeah, and the meal was all right actually.
What did you have? We've been sat here. Well, I'm going to say starving, but Mark actually brought a really nice meal for us.
I know. Actually, we were just sitting there saying we wish we'd had what Mark bought rather than what we've just eaten. Cold mashed potato, carrots and beef with a little bit of gravy. It was all right, but. You don't come here for the meal, in fairness.
The dinner summed up the season. There you go. We've just been going through the campaign. It's our lowest finish in 98 years. It's been another difficult season. How optimistic are you for it being put right in the summer?
I'm that optimistic. I've just bought a season ticket, which I haven't done for about. Well, to be fair, I didn't buy one when I was working here, but it's the first one I've bought for probably 25 years. So I think everyone knows how I feel about Nathan being the manager, and I feel like he's definitely got the ability to get us up there. And as I said Thursday night, I guess my only worry would be is if the board are able to fully back him with who he wants to bring in, and then push on from there, because I think if he's able to build a squad that he wants, we're automatic in my view. That's how optimistic I feel about it. But if he's not backed with who he needs, then I don't know. I do worry about it. So
you've known Nathan for longer than anyone else. You were working at the club the same time he was working at the club. How strong a character is he, and how much will he use that to sort of get his way with the board and make it quite clear what's required for this team? Because he's been very, very, very clear in his interviews with us post-game recently that there will need to be wholesale changes. You know, it's obvious a team that finishes 16th in League One isn't going to go automatic promotion without a lot of change. How confident are you that he's got that strength of character to get his message across to the money men?
Oh, very. And if I'm honest, I don't think he would have taken the job if he didn't feel confident that he was going to get backed in the summer transfer window. Because as he's already said, the aim of when he came in was to keep us up, which he's done. And I think he would have had negotiations, because he'd had other offers for other jobs and he turned them down, and I think he would only have taken this job if he felt fully confident that he was going to get what he needed. But also, he's as lovely as he is a person, he's also very, very strong-willed, and he will not mess about in saying what he wants and what he needs to get us promoted. So I think he will do everything in his power to get his message across to the board in what he needs, what he wants, and what the outcome will be if he gets that.
Excellent. Where do you think it went wrong this season? See, I'll put Joe on the spot a little bit, and he managed to fill about 25 minutes with that. But obviously something hasn't gone right this season. We finished in our lowest position in a lifetime. Can you put your finger on why it went so badly this year?
Recruitment. I think
and how do you fix that?
I would say last summer and the January transfer window, both transfer windows were very poor. I think we've talked about the quality of player that's been brought in not being to the level that was needed to push on. So I think that's my view is it came down to recruitment in two windows.
Is it as simple as Nathan taking a hands-on approach in this summer window to fix that then? Is that the way you see it? I mean, obviously there has to be money behind him as well for that to work.
Yeah, I mean, I think any player that's going to be approached by Nathan will want to join this club. That's not a question. Anyone that would want to play under him because of his passion and his knowledge But I think, money's always going to come into it, so that's going to be the main issue. But I think he's definitely got that ability to get in who he needs when he needs.
It's just I've been setting Joe up now with the now you're here,
Right.
with the next part of the show, because Mark, you're going to play a big part in this as well. We're going to look back at our pre-season predictions. So I've just been getting Joe to get them ready on his laptop. So at the start of the season, we all made predictions I'm really curious as to who got the best ones, but I'm sure Joe, the floor is yours. You just let us know. Let us know how these went. Let us know what we had to predict, and then let us know how these predictions went.
Yep, so we got not just the Charlton Live team, but we put it out to all of you as well to join in the top 6 teams and the bottom 6 teams to finish this season. And obviously 111 people actually put their predictions in, so more than I was expecting, because that's more admin than I was planning on doing. But thanks to everyone who has taken part. I'm very disappointed to announce that Louis Mendes, by not backing Charlton and having them in the top 6, managed to not only win for us, but won overall out of everybody.
So just to clarify, 111 people entered from the whole fan base.
Yeah.
I'm the best one out of the entire fan base. I'm the cleverest.
I reckon there should be independent adjudication here, by the way.
You're one of 5 out of the 111 who didn't back Charlton, and the other one of the Charlton Live team who didn't back Charlton came 3rd in our league, not in the overall league, and that's Terry Smith.
That's because I'm a Charlton fan. You don't back Charlton to do anything. That's just normal.
It's interesting that the two of us who go to the most games were like,
that might have something to do
not
with it,
us. So I won out of everyone in this room, and everyone who's listening to this podcast lost to me.
Yeah, can we get someone else to edit this show?
Can we have a sweep now as to what point in the next 3 years he stops talking about this?
Well, never.
I've got the other people out the total lot. I can do the top 5. We can reel those off.
Let's find out which listeners nearly were as good as me but weren't. I'm really go on.
So second was Mitch Slaney.
Well done, Mitch. So you better luck next time, mate.
Surely followed by Owen Green.
Owen, that's all right. Top 3. If you're proud of that, then I'm proud for you, mate.
Danny Court.
Danny Court. I mean, we're into 4th now, so Danny. I personally wouldn't be celebrating this one, but well done, Danny.
And then Oscar Cooper.
Yeah. Well, thanks for turning up,
this
mate.
Insufferability is going to build, isn't it?
Right. So, I mean, the next question, of course, is out of all of the Charlton Live lot, I mean, who embarrassed themselves to the extent that maybe they might want to rethink their entire football existence. Any guesses?
Well, I hope that Mark is good at cooking, because he needs a career to fall back on. It's certainly not going to be football punditry. He had us winning the league. That didn't really pan out too well for him. Reading coming 3rd, even though they were already getting points deductions before the season started. He was that confident that they were going to win every game, that they were going to come 3rd. And he had Stevenage and Lincoln going down, who of course did they? No, so
Both
he was
finished just outside the playoffs.
Yeah, so he had 3 teams in the top 6 that were in a relegation battle, and 3 teams going down that flirted with or the playoffs, all finished in mid-table.
Do you know, before Mark answers, and I'm sure he will.
How can he answer that, to be fair?
It's quite well. No, I'm sure there's something coming. It's quite clear that during his chefing prowess, of which he is extremely high, but during that chefing prowess, he clearly adds stuff to his cooking that he probably shouldn't. Now, the big concern with that is he's provided us food this evening. So, in about 10 minutes' time, the rest of this show is going to be just chaos.
He's provided us food, but the person who didn't eat it is the most optimistic on the table as well. So he's had something to do, I think, with the wider cooking for tonight, not just our grub.
But Mark, I'm really curious as to how you answer for the fact that you came so far last in the prediction league. I mean, starters, why on earth did you think we were going to win the league?
Oh, what can I say? Boyish optimism. That's all I can say. I suppose I let my heart rule my head. Followed us for so long, and you did think, maybe Dean could get a tune out of these players, because there were players we had. We had Miles. We thought was going to, crack on for the season. Got injured. And there was green shoots there, we thought, but we were. And then can I say, you say about football punditry, if Danny Murphy can make a living doing it, I surely can. I don't care about. Hey, also 111th. That's fine. Wooden spoon for the chef. I don't mind. I can put that to good use.
I'll tell you what feels better though, Mark. First,
it's a decent
feels really
attempt.
Good.
Well, it's a decent attempt at thinking yourself out of a hole, but I'm sure he knows.
I don't mind. It bookends it nicely. If the host of the show wins it, and one of the pundits doesn't, that's fine. I don't mind that.
It certainly proves it wasn't a fix, Mark?
But where did you finish, Joe?
Mid-table.
Mid-table. What number roughly?
56.
56.
That's exactly where I'd put myself if I was trying to prove it wasn't a fix to make the host win.
Yeah,
exactly. Excellent stuff. Right, we should talk briefly about the Player of the Year. Mark, I'll start with you. Obviously, it's Alfie May. There's no secret. No one's told me that. I could just know it without even bothering. So Alfie May will win the Player of the Year. He's won the League One Golden Boot. A lot of people feel like he's been taken off quite a lot recently, so maybe there's still more that Nathan wants from him. But for a debut season with us, it's his third year in a row that he's hit 20 plus goals in League One with 3 very bad teams, Cheltenham twice and us. He's been remarkable as far, and in terms of character and all that, he's been excellent as well. So a worthy winner as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, totally. He's been one of the very, very, very few highlights of this season. He seems like such an infectious character as well when you see him interviewed. Doesn't take himself too seriously, as he showed in his bootless tunnel jump. So no, it's been a delight to see, and like I say, we don't have that many. For a club our size and the years we've been in the league, we don't actually have that many players who have done 20. I think I've seen 3 or 4, and that's about it. So it's good. I mean, he needs help. We just cannot be relying on him because, heaven forbid he gets an injury or something, and we're just looking to get players. We didn't have enough help through the team, and that's the thing. We didn't. I only had one other player reach double figures. And that was, Danny Kanu, I think. But we didn't get enough help through the season, enough help from midfield, no defenders picking up at set pieces. So I'm surprised we scored the amount of goals we did. But when you look down the list, it's 2 goals here, 1 goal there, 2 goals here. I mean, Terry will probably be able to tell you the stats. We've probably got to about 10 players who've just got 1 goal. And you're thinking, we need those to step up. And that's the thing, you just cannot be relying on one player, and this is one of the reasons we've been so poor this season, because of that reliance. Because it seemed to be if Alfie didn't score, we didn't score, and of course we sent off our only other goal threat we had this season in Corey. He went off to dally up and miss at Derby, but they've got promoted, so I think he could probably care less about missing. So he has been the highlight, I'd say, because it's quite hard to pick something else out of the season which has made me smile.
You're right in saying, so there's 9 players who got 1 goal. Charlie Kirk apparently scored at some point this season. It must have been in the Bristol Street Motors. Mika and Bick got that one against Cray. So there's a few on 1. Corey's our next highest scorer on 9. Dan Kanu, you're right, he got double figures, but that's obviously including his 4 goals for Southend against Solihull, who I hope continue to lose games for the rest of the season. Solihull, we're playing Bromley in the playoff final next week. But goals have been a problem outside of Alfie and Corey and Dan on the whole. Obviously, Miles being injured didn't help that, Terry. So, is that part of the frustration that the midfield hasn't really picked up? It was quite a long time before one of our defenders scored a goal from a set piece. That's because they come from set pieces and we are terrible at set pieces. But that highlights some of the problems we have had this season, that we have been over-reliant on Alfie up top.
Absolutely. I said earlier on that about our defensive frailties don't just come from the defence; it comes across the whole side. And the same could be said for our lack of goal scoring. Alfie May's got 36% of all Charlton's goals this season, and the rest are spread out. And we are in a position, or have been in a position this season, where we probably need to score 3 goals to win a game of football. Up until Nathan came in, at least, where we were slightly more solid, but for most of the season we needed more than 2 goals to win a game of football, and if Alfie May didn't get those 2 goals, we didn't win the game of football. And then if it was tight and we almost sacrificed that goal scoring prowess of Alfie May to try and earn a result, then we all sort of knew that at some point someone was going to make a mistake that would cost us the victory or the draw before the end of the game. So yeah, of course goals are a massive part, and we didn't. I think the thing is, I don't think anybody could say in any confidence that at any set piece happened, whether it be a corner or a free kick, we actually didn't look like we were ever going to score from one of those situations. I mean, Fiorini hit the crossbar yesterday, and that was a massive shock to
one of the highlights of the season.
Do you know what I mean? And because we didn't see it that often, and that's got to change. I'm sure Nathan knows that. I mean, even prior to that, when we weren't very good, you could, Ryan Innes was on, or we had a couple of players that you thought would weigh in with the odd goal from a corner or a set piece, and that really hasn't looked like the case this season.
Excellent stuff. Right, we're going to cut off for the awards shortly, but Tash, we should just mention, obviously, this is a shared awards evening for both the men's and the women's team. The women's team finished their season today with a 2-0 victory over Southampton here at the Valley, which means, they finished second in the Championship. They finished just a point behind someone else who got promoted. I'm not going to say the name, but there's a point behind a fellow South London team who got promoted to the WSL. We have to, I guess, praise the job that Karen's done with that team, considering they didn't start the season that well. They had a bit of a tail off sort of in the final third as well, but overall, they ended very, very strongly, and that's been a really, really impressive season for Karen and for her side.
Yeah,
I actually thought it was a mob in Surrey that won it, but never mind.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I don't know who lifted the trophy today, not sure, but as you say, what did they finish last season? I think they finished 4th, so I was really hoping this season was going to be the year that they were going to do it, but at the same time, it was so tight. Literally, obviously, it could have come down to stay. It became quite obvious, I think, maybe the third to last match, who was going to win the league. Still don't know who that club is, but anyway. But I think, there's a slight issue in the Women's Championship where there is only that one promotion spot. I think there were probably 4 teams, say Palace, Charlton, Sunderland, and Birmingham maybe were the teams I thought could have. Southampton, and Southampton could have gone up. So it is so fierce, the competition is so fierce, and obviously we're competing with clubs that have the men's teams are in the Premier League, so they've got a bit more cash to play with. But considering all of that, Karen Hills has done a fantastic job. I think they recruited well in the summer. They got players that came down from the WSL, plenty of experience. It's been a bit of a shift in personnel that we're used to, and some of the players have suffered injuries again, like Ella Rutherford, suffered an ACL again, unfortunately. So, she's their best player in my opinion. So, but playing games to the Valley next season, it sounds cliche, but I do think that boost with those fans will help. Like Bristol City women, they're going to get relegated from the WSL, but there's no doubt that their games would have been boosted, and that club would have been boosted by the fact they played at Ashton Gate, and you hope they get the same thing here. So we'll get promoted next season. I back that.
I agree with Tash completely, and that Karen will look back and think that draw against Lewes and the defeat to the Lionesses, real kick in the teeth towards Stud running at the end of the season. If it hadn't been for that, we'd probably be in the Women's Super League now. But the fact there's only one going up is a travesty. It can't be that way. If they want parity, there's got to be parity in the competition as well as everything else. I've heard a rumour that it will be expanded. Quite when that will happen, I'm not sure. But Tasha's right. When you consider that the women's team are going to play at the Valley, and I think Sue mentioned about Nathan Jones being a draw to get players into the club. The fact that players will be playing in this stadium week in, week out, must be a draw to bring players in, and Karen's already done that this season, which got us close. You get the feeling that with that added incentive, that could tip us. And if there's two teams going up next season, then I think we have a real chance.
Excellent stuff. Right, It is time for us to cut away now, so I'm just staring around the room. I've seen Tracy Leeburn's doing the rounds now, speaking to all the different tables, making sure the players are all okay. The puddings seem to be being served. It's one of those weird little free little puddings on one plate, so that's also the cue for Mark to go into his box and get our pudding ready, because I'm really looking forward to seeing what we've got. So we're going to cut off this first portion of the podcast so far. I hope you've enjoyed what we've had to say so far. We're going to cut away. You're going to hear now, next up on the show, the winners of the Player of the Year awards being announced. Then when we come back, we'll start to dive into the interviews with the players. So hopefully we'll have a whole host of exciting people to interview when you've heard who wins the Player of the Year award. We'll be back in a few moments' time. Thinking about a new kitchen or bathroom? Find professional, independent local installers with free home surveys, itemised quotes and protected payments, trading standards approved contracts and workmanship warranties. The British Institute of Kitchen, Bedroom, Bathroom Installations accredits installers to ensure they are police checked, fully insured and experienced. Take the risk out of home improvement. Visit bikbbi.org.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the river. See you soon.
Charlton Live.
In third place, it's Freya Godfrey. In second place, Beth Rowe. And the winner of the Fans Women's Team Player of the Year Awards, Carla Humphrey.
So the third place winner, a reminder that supporters voted for this award, is a very dependable defender who can play anywhere in the back 3, the back 4, the back 5, whatever the manager asks. It's Terrell Thomas.
The runner-up, our club captain, whose defensive work in midfield, next to none. Nathan says he's more than that, and he scored our first goal of the season and the final one of the season here at the Valley. It is, of course, who is it? Bobo!
Right, so your winner. What a serious talent this footballer is, and what a journey he has been on. Named in the EFL League Team 1 of the season, he also picked up the Golden Boot Award. It is, of course, Alfie May.
Charlton Live.
Well, delighted to say now we're joined by the Charlton Athletic Player of the Year for 2023-24 and the League One top scorer as well, Alfie May. Alfie, congratulations. How proud are you to win those accolades?
It's a great achievement. To say that I've done it at Charlton as well is something that will live with me forever. And I just said it in the interview up there. I still can't believe that I'm playing for Charlton. It's a crazy one, and probably it's an emotional day for me, for myself and my family, because it's a massive club, and I still can't believe that I play for Charlton.
Were you checking your phone when you went off yesterday to see if Colby was still on as well?
The minute I come off, I was on my phone. I was making sure that. But when I see that he got brought off, Colby got brought off at about the 60th minute. The feeling that I got was up there with having my kids. Like it's achievement that I've sort of probably dreamed that I would never probably thought that I would had. And Colby Bishop's a top striker in this league. He's done it for years, and they've been promoted, so I thought they was going to keep him on, but I'm really delighted to win it.
Obviously, it's a personal accolade in a disappointment of a season. I mean, how do you sort of marry those two together, and is it about taking that form into next year and hoping that the entire team can work together for a higher aim next year?
Yeah, listen, I think the frustration between sort of us and not being where we should be. As a player, you wanna be promoted, you wanna win silverware, and we know that we've probably underachieved this year, and it's probably a frustrating one as overall. But I think you can see the way that sort of this club's going now, the direction that it's facing, and everybody being a part of a successful journey, and hopefully next year that it can be that. It's crazy probably to think that where we finish, and I'm the Golden Boot winner and top goal scorer in the league, but I think the main aim overall was promotion, and we haven't done that. And I think, like I say, the last 14-15 games since the gaffer's come in, you can see the route, the way we're going, and the way that we want to play, and we all want to be on that same journey to be promoted next year.
Hi Alfie, congratulations. I was going to ask, because you obviously with 3 managers this season, how difficult is it for your own focus? Because obviously Dean went after 5, Michael came in, and then he had his own way of doing things, which as fans, we thought you were pushed out too wide to be effective, but he liked having you out on the right wing and coming in a little bit later. And then of course Nathan comes in and uses you sort of like centrally, to be a bit of a pest, to harass, and you don't stop running. And how do you find with those 3 managers that your focus, which are primarily scoring goals, which you've managed, keeps the same the whole season? Because is that a difficult thing to do with the 3 managers, or?
Yeah, as a footballer, you're probably some players would probably lose that, like in terms of that confidence maybe. But for me, I feel like I have nothing to lose, if that makes sense. So where I've come from, the way that I've been brought up in the game, I've got nothing to lose. So wherever the manager wants me to play, I'm going to play, and I'm going to do it at the best that I can possibly do it. And I got brought into this football club to score goals. So all I had in my mind, listen, we've had 3 managers this year, we've had 2 interim managers, like all my focus was, don't worry about what's going on that side, that's nothing that I can deal with. It's down to me to score goals, to make sure that we are going in the right direction. I got brought into this football club to score goals, and that's my job, and I get paid to do it. So if I went through a goal drought in probably, I think it was January time, and you hear a little bit of a noise, but every striker goes through a goal drought. Like, we're not going to score goals every week, but one thing that I will do is score goals, and I've proved that this year. I've proved it over the last couple of years, and for me now, like, my focus is I'm in this team to score goals. That's all I need to worry about. I want to win games, I want to win silverware, I want to be promoted. Like, so for me now, like, and I think a lot of players will probably say the same, like, their focus is, you don't need to worry what's going on the outside, worry about yourself, and you'll do all right.
Brilliant. Well, Alfie, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations again on the gongs, and we look forward to seeing you score more goals next season as well.
Thank you.
Charlton Live.
Right, well, delighted to say now we're joined on Charlton Live by the Addicks skipper, George Dobson, who's come second in the Player of the Year award. George, I mean, Alfie, a worthy winner this year, but you were breathing right down his neck.
No. To be the top scorer in the league for a team that finished in the bottom half of the table is an incredible achievement. I remember it was a year ago. I was having a chat with Dean Holden, and I was telling him to sign Alfie May. I was like, I'm telling you, like, he's the best striker in the league, and we had a couple of conversations, and then obviously it ended up materialising an healthy sign, and he obviously become the top goal scorer in the league. Incredible player, but an incredible person. Genuinely so proud of him, and to finish second to him there's no one else I'd rather finish second to in any award. So genuinely so proud of him. So
well, you can definitely go into scouting when you retire, can't you? Tell us about this season then, as skipper. Obviously, it's been another frustrating one for the fans. How have you sort of found this year?
No, very frustrating. I was going into it feeling very optimistic, to be fair. I felt like the club was in a good place in the summer, and then for whatever reason it didn't quite materialise how everyone at the club wanted it to. But obviously since Nathan's come in, and he's obviously an incredible manager at the level, and he's proven with his Luton teams and the way he is, and I'm adamant that the club's going to be in a good place next year. Genuinely, he knows what he wants, and he knows how to get to that next level. So, I think it's an optimistic time to be a Charlton fan, because I genuinely think the good times are coming back, and I really hope they do.
I mean, obviously we can't get away without speaking about what's going to happen next year. As far as we're aware, you're not going to be here. Is that still the case? There's been, obviously Nathan has expressed his desire to keep you at the club, but signed elsewhere. Is that correct?
There's not a lot I can comment on. Really, I don't want to be like the awkward egg in the room, but football's a weird game. A lot of things happen behind the scenes that you can't comment on, but it's an incredible football club, and whatever happens, I've had the most incredible 3 years, and to captain this football club is genuinely the best honour of my career, and I genuinely think it will be the best honour of my career. So I don't really want to comment too much on it, because I actually can't, but I don't know. We'll see.
Just to try and put it plainly, I know it's quite a difficult thing to talk about in the situation you're in. As far as you're aware, are you not going to be here next season? Is that still?
There's not a lot I can say. I don't want to be like the. I can't really say too much.
Any regrets as to how it was?
No, I've got no.
The January situation, not with yourself, but with the club or anything like that.
No, I've got no regrets on my behalf. But
do you think it should have been handled differently by Charlton? There was a lot of sort of.
I do. But it's football.
If this is to be the last we see of George Dobson, then sum up your time. Obviously you've meant a lot to us as fans.
No, genuinely. I was speaking to Alf about it the other day. It's weird, with football, some people work at football clubs and some people don't. I was at Sunderland, an incredible football club, and I just didn't work there. I didn't play very well there, and I've come to Charlton, and I've just connected on and off the pitch. They've welcomed my family incredibly. I've obviously stayed fit, I've played to a good level, and the fans have appreciated me, and I've appreciated them genuinely, unconditionally. I've loved my time. My only regret is
10 more years, George Dobson. 10 more years, I say. My only regret is the team didn't do better, because my dream was always to captain a team that got promoted from this level. So I'd say that's my only regret.
We always keep an eye on us in the future.
Well, my old man will more than anything.
He seems to be at most away games down the pubs with all the
He don't miss a game. But no, we'll see. You never know what happens in football, so you never know.
Well, George, it's been a fascinating chat. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable 3 years watching you play for our club, and well, I don't even know how to end it. Let's hope it's not the last, but if it is, thank you for your time with the club.
I really appreciate that. Genuinely, thank you.
Charlton Live.
Well, we're now joined by the Charlton Athletic Women's Player of the Year, Carla Humphrey. Carla, congratulations on winning the award in your first year as a Charlton player. How does it feel?
Thank you. Yeah, I feel really proud to win the award. I think it could have gone to anyone in the team because the team have been unbelievable this season. So, yeah, really proud. Very grateful.
How do you sum up your first year here at the club? Obviously, it ended in disappointment, being so close to going up. But I mean, it's a great season. I think it's the highest that the women's team have ever finished.
Yeah, I think it was obviously our ambition to go up, and I think that was really achievable throughout the season. And we have fallen a bit short, but I think we can be proud of what we've achieved this season. And I think we're just looking on to next year now, and what we can continue to achieve as a group. So,
do you have a personal favourite? I know you scored a free kick against Watford, but
I would say that was my favourite, but because we lost the game, then it kind of changes things. But yeah. I'm still going to go with that one, I think, yeah.
Excellent. I mean, I guess yourself and the likes of Kate Longhurst coming into the club, there was a bit of pressure on you two bringing that WSL experience into the group. I mean, how do you think that you were able to sort of help improve the side with what you've learned before in your career?
Yeah, I think a bit of experience, but also I think the Championship is very different. It's a lot more physical, so I think the girls actually also helped us to adapt to that. But yeah, just to bring some experience, and yeah, obviously I'm getting on a bit now, so whatever I can bring to the team is great. But yeah, the girls were fantastic from the moment I came in. So.
And I guess there's only one aim for next season. Now you're playing all your home games here at the Valley as well. That will help. But you hope to go that further step next year.
Yeah, definitely. And I think some of the games that we maybe have lost at VCD, it was, a smaller pitch doesn't actually suit us. We try to play football, so playing that on a bigger pitch, especially against some of the teams at the bottom, which we have dropped points against, I think will really help us next season. We really enjoy playing here. The fans are great here, so yeah.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on winning the Player of the Year, and all the best for next season.
Thank you very much.
Charlton Live.
Right, well, now joining us on the Charlton Live podcast is the man who never expected he was going to be Young Player of the Year, but we all did. It's Daniel Carney. How you doing, Dan? Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's just a real moment, This one's slightly more special than the first time, which is crazy me even saying that. But it's just a great moment. I can't really put it into words how much this means to me, but it's it's hard to explain.
It's clearly it's more special this time around because you've played so much in the first team. This is definitely what I would describe as your breakthrough year in terms of first team football. Even before that loan spell you had with Southend, you were starting to catch the eye, but that seems to have helped you really kicked on in the second half of this season. I mean, you said when you're up there, it's been a surreal year for you.
Southend helped me a lot. Like you said, I did have a decent start to the season. It's just that results weren't going our way, and inevitably, if results aren't going your way, the manager will eventually have to leave, which is unfortunate because I was playing a lot at the time. And when a new manager came in, I wasn't playing as much. I got the opportunity to go to Southend, and they had explained that all the formations that they played, and I was very attracted to that. So they said I'll be playing every game because at the time they were under a transfer embargo, which meant that if they wanted to sign me, they'd actually have to go to the league and say that it's like an emergency transfer. So that's what I was classed as. So it was good in a sense because I played every single game and played most of the minutes because we barely had any substitutes. So it was really good experience for me. And just in general, like the physicality of the National League, where a lot of the players, they pride themselves more on their physical attributes than more their technical attributes. So where you play academy football, it's a lot more technical than physical. It was very good for me, just getting stronger. I think that's probably been my biggest compliment since coming back from Southend, is that, Daniel, you're looking a lot more stronger, you're holding off defenders. And I think it's a big compliment to Southend because they helped me in my development. They gave me the opportunity to get experience week in, week out. But also, when I came back, I got given an opportunity by the gaffer when he came in, and I haven't looked back, thankfully. So I'm really excited looking on to next season. Hopefully more goals, more assists and more awards, and the ultimate goal, all of that is nice, but the ultimate goal is to get this club out of League One because we shouldn't be here. Like Alfie said earlier, we're too big to be in League One, and I've been at this club since I was 10, so I've seen the ups and the downs, and it's been frustrating for me watching on. Now I have the ability and the opportunity to affect that. I'm going to give 100% and an extra 10% on top of that to make sure that we go back to where we need to be. So yeah.
Just looking at obviously the season, you mentioned managers coming in and managers going out. There seems to be a real sort of warmth towards Nathan from the players in terms of how he's come in and giving you guys confidence and freedom, especially the younger guys in terms of coming through. What has been the sort of main things that he's given you to help you push on in the second half of the season and going into next season, obviously help you push on again?
Just gave me confidence. You know, when a manager of his caliber comes in and you're starting like the second game he's managing, because the first game he'd only been in for a couple of days, but after he has like a good week or so with the lads, and then you're starting, it's a real confidence booster, and I think that's what helped me really, just some confidence. And I think that's probably the main thing from not just the gaffer but also the loans. It's just the confidence it gave me in my ability, and I think it helped me learn what would be effective and what wouldn't be effective. So I've been doing a lot of running. That's been my role most of the time, running in behind. And yeah, it's been really, really effective. It was effective against Derby where I won a penalty, and it's just been something different, you know. So yeah, he gave me a lot of confidence, and I've taken it in my stride. And yeah, it's just going to get better from here. Obviously, I still need to repay him back for all he's given to me. Obviously, I've scored a few goals here and there, but need to score more. Simple as that. And if I'm sitting here next year with 30 goals, I'll tell the same again. I need to score more because it's never ending. It's never ending. And I don't want to reach a point where I feel comfortable with anything. I want to keep on pushing, keep on working, because at the end of the day, there's always something I can do better. And although like all these achievements are amazing, there's so much I need to work on, and I'll continue to work on those and make sure that next season is better than this season, and the season after that is better than the previous season. And if I keep on working like that, I'm sure, and if we can collectively work like that as a group of players, staff, we'll get this team back to where it needs to be, 100%.
That's brilliant, Dan. Well, I remember sitting in that corner of the room last year with you and Zach, and I said I really look forward to seeing what you can achieve next season. Well, I really enjoyed watching it this year. Yeah. I look forward even more to seeing what happens next season.
Definitely, yeah, I can't wait.
Charlton Live.
Well, delighted to say now that we're joined on Charlton Live by an absolute Addicks, a legend, one of our former captains, and he's been inducted into the Hall of Fame this evening. It's Matt Holland. Matt, thanks for coming to join us. Congratulations on being inducted. How does that feel?
Thank you. Yeah, immensely proud, to be honest. When you think about how many great players have played for this football club, to be one of 39 now, I think someone said to me there's 988 players have played for Charlton Athletic, and so to be one of 39 to be in the Hall of Fame, it makes you really, really proud. You know, because when I look back and some of the players that I've played with who are so talented, you know, I wasn't the most talented footballer in the world, I know that. But what I think, and the reason why maybe the supporters voted for me, is because I gave it my all every week. I had a big heart and was 100% every single game, every single training session, and maybe that's why the supporters have voted for me. So no, immensely proud and really privileged to have been here tonight to pick up the award.
Yeah, what does it feel like to come back to the Valley after so many years?
Well, I've been back a few times. I've been back, seen some of the games, and I've been on Charlton TV a few times as well. So I have been around the club, but to be here at this event and actually see the positivity in the room as well. I don't remember the room being like this when we were playing. I don't honestly remember it being as big an event as this. Maybe my memory's just like gone now. I've turned 50 maybe, but I look and see the positivity about what's happened in the second half of the season. New owners, new manager, a big summer ahead, and we've got our fingers crossed for a big season next year.
I mean, can you look back at, obviously you were here at such a successful time, about what this club needs now in order to get back to where it once was?
To be honest, I'm involved a little bit at Ipswich Town now, and Ipswich have got people in the right place. They've got a new ownership group, they've got a brilliant CEO, they've got a brilliant manager, and they've got players who understand what it means to play for the club and what it means to represent the club in the community. I would say that that's what this football club is all about as well. And obviously new owners, new manager, I think players that understand what it means to play for the club. And then obviously with a big summer ahead, recruitment-wise, if we can add to that, I think, we've got the foundations to kick on next season.
Matt, I've got to say, you were one of the first players I remember at Charlton. I don't know if that makes you feel a bit old, but but you were one of my favourite players when I was younger. So, but for you, it might be a bit difficult. What was your favourite memory of being a Charlton player?
Oh, well, I mean, to be honest, the privilege of being made captain very early. I've been here for pre-season, and it was the last pre-season game when Curbs sort of gave me the armband at Leyton Orient and said, "You're captain today," and then I was captain for the first game in the Premier League. So that was a really big moment. We had some wonderful moments, as in finishing 7th in the Premier League, captaining the club to that position, at highest ever Premier League finish. I think Chelsea at home always stands out for me when we beat them on Boxing Day. It's always a game when everyone says, what game do you remember the most? It's probably that one that stands out. The boys have been asking me. I've got 2 boys, and one of them was here tonight actually. I've got a brilliant photo I'll show you later, but I've got him. He was a mascot against Man United for one of the games, so I've got a picture of him when he was like little. But they'd asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I said, "Oh, don't worry." I said, "Honestly, you don't need to buy me. Just get me a goal against Chelsea." And sure enough, I scored on Boxing Day, so they delivered on their promise.
That's remarkable. So many good memories, especially when I was a young lad. I got to watch you guys plying your trade in the Premier League. It really was a privileged upbringing for myself. Matt, congratulations again, and thanks for joining us on Charlton Live.
Thank you. Keep up the good work, and fingers crossed for a good season next year.
Charlton Live.
Right, well, we are coming to the end of our Player of the Year special here at the Valley. Crossbars is slowly emptying. We've not been able to get the Addicks boss Nathan Jones, but we've got a whole host of really fantastic interviews, and particularly to speak to George Dobson as well was a real eye-opener. So it's great to have Dobbo on. So time to wrap up the evening and the season. Terry, have you enjoyed your evening?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and I think a few people have touched on it. I'm sure you guys have done it while I've been away. But this has been, I think, probably one of the biggest attended Player of the Year dues in recent years. I mean, consider where we finished in the season and the football that's been played. I think that's phenomenal when you consider the away fans selling out in countless number of away games, especially towards the end, despite the fact we haven't been playing great football. And I think that's a testament, of course, to Nathan Jones and what he managed to get out of the players. I think it's also, he always mentions the journey, and I think this maybe is part of that, and hopefully the club, the people behind the scenes, and Nathan Jones and the team, whatever team he picks and signs for next season, grasps that and takes it with us, because this is phenomenal. And as a fan base and as a club, we should use this and harness it.
There's nothing better than this end of season optimism, isn't there? It's normally sort of October by the time we've all had enough, but yeah.
You say that, but I mean, when you consider, especially the last 2 weeks' performances, I think normally we get a little uplift of performances on the pitch, which gives us that bit of optimism that we then realise shouldn't have been there in the first place. I think this is different. I really do think this is different.
Excellent stuff. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed our end of season podcast, and it is our last podcast of the season as well. So really massive thanks to everyone who has tuned in throughout the course of the year. I really hope you have enjoyed our shows. I should say a massive thank you to everyone involved in the show. So we've got Terry, Tash, Joe and Mark here at the table. Sue has disappeared. She's off gallivanting or mixing with other people. Terry's
drinking.
Terry's implying that Sue might have had a drink.
Well, I didn't say what it was.
Yeah, she's away. Also, obviously, those of us who of the Charlton Live team who aren't with us this evening. So Nathan, Tom here. Benji's not here. Lewis has only just got back from the States, so he's knackered. I'd like to express my massive disappointment in the commentary. All right, Greg, how you doing? Greg Stubley, you all right, mate?
Yes, mate. All good.
Good to see Greg Stubley just making a flying appearance on the end of the podcast.
I can't go too far without Tell.
Yeah, no,
like, we have media people. We're a bit like Ant and Dec.
Yeah, Ant and Dec. Which one's the short one? All these just had his say on the end of the Charlton Live podcast there as well. So I said to see, we have to say a massive thank you to Glove Pup as well, who doesn't come on the show, but does all the work behind the scenes. So yeah, big thanks to Paul Glover, who's done so much good work for Charlton Live this evening. I want to say a big thank you, of course, to Charlton Athletic Football Club for supplying their players and managers throughout the course of the season. That really does help us, so big thanks to everyone at the club, particularly obviously the media team, for their support. We have to say a big thank you to our sponsors as well, the British Institute of Kitchen, Bedroom and Bathroom Installation, and the River Ale House, who run a sponsor, an advert on our pod as well. So that's it for 2023-24. The lowest point of our history ends here, so let's draw a line under it. Thankfully for Charlton Live, this hasn't been the lowest point in our history, I don't think. Was that probably when you were doing it, Tell?
All right, stop it.
All right, let's get out of here before I get myself into any more trouble. So I'm Louis Mendes. A massive thank you to everyone who's listened to us throughout 2023-24. We are having a break now, all hell let loose. I'm not going to come back until the Thursday before the season starts. So just in case you're going to keep tweeting us, we are going on summer holiday. We're not back until just before the season starts, when hopefully there'll be loads of new players and something to look forward to. I'm Louis Mendes. Thanks for listening to Charlton Live. We shall see you again in August.
Well done, Mendes! Well done, Mendes!